A lot of people believe that growing fruit means having a big backyard, a proper orchard, plenty of land, room to spread out. And if you don't have that, well, maybe fruit just isn't for you. But that's simply not true, and today I want to show you why. There are 12 fruits that grow wonderfully in small gardens, containers, raised beds, patios, even balconies. Some of them are surprisingly productive in very tight spaces, and the number one fruit on today's list produces more food per square foot than almost anything else you could plant. That one is definitely worth sticking around for. I also have an important planting tip to share at the very end, one that gardeners who skip often wish they hadn't. Make sure you stay until the end. We're counting down 12 fruits that truly thrive in small gardens. Many of them grow beautifully in containers, stay naturally compact, and keep producing for years once they're established. We'll go from number 12 all the way down to number 1. And if you enjoy learning simple ways to grow more food at home, click the subscribe button right now and be part of this channel, because here we share practical gardening ideas to help you get more from your space, even if that space is quite small. Number 12. Passion fruit. Most people picture passion fruit as something exotic and out of reach, but it's actually one of the most space-efficient fruits you can grow because it's a vine, not a tree. It climbs upward along a trellis or fence rather than spreading outward, so the ground footprint is tiny. Growing zones for passion fruit. Passion fruit thrives in USDA zones 9 through 11, though hardier purple varieties can manage zone 8 with some shelter. Give it full sun, a sturdy support structure, and a large container of at least 15 gallons with good drainage, and it will reward you generously. Do you already grow passion fruit, or is this one you've been curious about? Let me know in the comments. Number 11. Grapes. If you've never considered growing grapes in a small garden, you might be surprised how easily a single vine can fit into a limited space. Trained along a fence, over an arch, or across a patio pergola, grapes take up almost no ground space at all, and they provide beautiful shade in summer as a bonus. Growing zones for grapes. Depending on the variety, grapes grow in USDA zones 4 through 10. The most important skill with grapes is pruning. Cut back hard each winter because grapes fruit on new growth. It sounds daunting, but once you understand the rhythm, it's straightforward and very satisfying. Number 10. Mulberry. Here's a fruit that deserves far more attention than it gets. Mulberries are extraordinary producers. A single compact or weeping variety can deliver enormous harvests over many decades. Traditional mulberry trees can get large, but dwarf and weeping varieties are now widely available, some small enough to grow in a generously sized container. Growing zones for mulberry. Mulberries grow in USDA zones 5 through 10. They're drought-tolerant once established, and they're self-fertile, meaning one plant is all you need. The flavor is remarkable, something between a blackberry and a raspberry, but deeper and sweeter. Is the mulberry a fruit you've tried growing, or one you hadn't considered before today? Stay with me. We're working our way toward the number 1 fruit on this list, and it's one of the most productive plants you can grow in a small garden. And don't forget the important planting tip coming at the end. Number 9. Dwarf pear trees. Pears have a reputation for being slow and demanding, but a dwarf pear on the right rootstock is a genuinely beautiful thing in a small garden. Kept to around 2 meters, or trained flat as an espalier against a sunny wall, a dwarf pear takes up almost no ground space at all and produces fruit for decades. Growing zones for dwarf pears. Pears grow in USDA zones 4 through 9. One practical note, most varieties need a compatible pollination partner nearby, so look specifically for self-fertile varieties if you only have room for one tree. Number 8. Dwarf peaches. There's nothing quite like picking a peach from your own garden. The fragrance alone makes it worthwhile. Dwarf peach varieties like Bonfire or Garden Lady were bred specifically for small spaces and containers. They stay under 2 meters, fruit reliably, and look beautiful in blossom. Growing zones for dwarf peaches. Peaches grow in USDA zones 5 through 9 and need full sun. When the fruitlets are marble-sized, thin them to about 15 centimeters apart. It feels counterintuitive, but the remaining peaches will be noticeably larger and more flavorful for it. Have you ever grown a peach tree, or is this a fruit you've always wanted to try?
Number 7. Blackberries. Wild blackberries have a reputation for being unruly, but modern thornless varieties like Washita or Natchez are a completely different experience. Trained along a fence or trellis, they take up minimal horizontal space and produce generously. Some compact patio varieties can even be grown in large containers. Growing zones for blackberries. Blackberries grow in USDA zones 5 through 9. The management is simple once you know the rule. Canes that have fruited get cut to the ground and new canes take over. After one season of growing them, it becomes second nature. Number 6, lemons, dwarf citrus. A dwarf lemon tree in a sunny container might be the most practical fruit plant on this entire list. A healthy Meyer lemon or Eureka lemon in a pot can produce dozens of lemons per year, and it looks stunning year-round with its glossy foliage and fragrant blossom. Growing zones for lemons. Lemons prefer USDA zones 9 through 11 outdoors, but because they thrive in containers, gardeners in colder climates can simply bring them inside for winter. The one rule that matters most: full sun. The more light, the more fruit. And never let the soil dry out completely between waterings. Citrus likes consistent moisture. If you're enjoying this list and you'd like more simple gardening ideas like this, make sure you're subscribed. We share new videos regularly, and there's plenty more to come. And we're getting closer to number 1. That fruit is coming up very soon, and so is the important tip I promised at the start. Keep watching. Number 5, raspberries. Raspberry canes are tall but narrow, which makes them a natural fit for small gardens. A row along a fence takes up very little horizontal space. For even tighter spots, compact varieties like Ruby Beauty grow in a bushy, self-supporting shape that works beautifully in a large container. Growing zones for raspberries. Raspberries grow in USDA zones 3 through 9. Autumn fruiting varieties are the easiest to manage in a small garden. Cut the whole planting to the ground in late winter and fresh canes grow and fruit in the same season. Clean, simple, and very productive. Number 4, figs. Here's something that surprises a lot of gardeners. Fig trees actually fruit better when their roots are slightly restricted. A fig in a large container on a sunny patio will often outperform one planted in open ground because limiting root growth redirects the tree's energy from leaves into fruit. This makes figs almost perfectly suited to container growing. Growing zones for figs. Figs grow in USDA zones 7 through 11 outdoors and can be overwintered in sheltered spots or unheated greenhouses in cooler climates. They're self-fertile, they love full sun, and they need very little fuss once established. Is the fig a fruit you already grow or one that's been on your wish list for a while? Let me know in the comments section. Number 3, blueberries. Blueberries are arguably the most naturally container-friendly fruit on this list, and the reason comes down to soil. They need acidic conditions around pH 4.5 to 5.5, which is difficult to maintain in open ground. In a container filled with ericaceous potting mix, that problem disappears entirely. You have complete control. Growing zones for blueberries. Blueberries grow in USDA zones 4 through 9 depending on variety, and they're long-lived. A well-cared-for plant can fruit for 20 years or more. Grow at least 2 varieties together for noticeably better yields and larger berries. Number 2, dwarf apple trees. An apple tree feels like the heart of a productive garden, and with the right dwarf rootstock, that experience is fully accessible in a small space. Dwarf apples on M9 or M27 rootstocks stay under 2 meters, fruit within a few years of planting, and can be trained as stunning espaliers flat against a wall. Beautiful, space-saving, and deeply traditional. Growing zones dwarf apple trees. Apples grow in USDA zones 3 through 9. Most varieties need a pollination partner, so look for self-fertile types or plant 2 compatible varieties side by side in containers. One more to go, and this is the one I've been building toward, the number 1 fruit for a small garden. And straight after, the important tip I promised at the start. Number 1, strawberries. Strawberries earn the top spot for one simple reason. No other fruit on this list produces so much food so quickly in so little space. A single plant takes up almost no room, but strawberries naturally send out runners, producing new plants freely, filling raised beds, window boxes, hanging baskets, and tiered vertical planters. A strawberry tower 2 feet wide can hold 30 or more plants and fruit generously throughout the season. Plant them in spring, and you can be picking fruit within months. That kind of immediate reward is rare in fruit growing. Growing zones for strawberries. They grow in USDA zones 3 through 10. Everbearing varieties produce multiple flushes across the season. Alpine varieties handle partial shade better than most. Give them at least 6 hours of sun, water at the base to avoid fruit rot, and feed with a potassium-rich fertilizer once they're in flower. Strawberries are the fruit that gets everyone started. They're easy, they're fast, and fresh from the garden, they taste like a completely different fruit from anything you'd find in a shop. That's why they're number one. Do you already grow strawberries, or has today's list inspired you to give them a try? Let me know in the comment section. Important planting tip. Now, the tip I promised at the start, and it's a simple one, but it matters enormously. Before you plant any fruit in a small garden, always choose the right variety for your space. Not just the right fruit, the right variety of that fruit. A standard apple and a dwarf apple are both apple trees, but one will outgrow your garden in a few years and the other will thrive beautifully in a container for decades. Look specifically for words like dwarf, patio, compact, or miniature when you're choosing fruit plants. Check the expected mature height and spread, and if you're growing in containers, use a properly sized pot with good drainage holes and quality potting mix, not garden soil, which compacts and holds too much moisture in pots. These two things, the right variety and the right container conditions, will do more for your results than anything else. Simple, but genuinely game-changing. If you could only plant one fruit from today's list in your garden this year, which one would it be? Leave your answer in the comments. I genuinely enjoy reading what you're all growing, and it's always great to hear from the community. Your comments always inspire the next video in this channel. Even a small patio, a sunny balcony, or a few containers by the back door can become a productive fruit garden. You don't need a lot of space. You just need the right plants, a bit of care, and the confidence to get started. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like more practical ideas for growing food in small spaces, consider subscribing to this channel for more videos like this. And thank you so much for watching. Happy growing!